I just came out of R&D with one of the most ingenious Yu-Gi-Oh cards to ever be made, and it was made by me. So as we get a little bit more presentable here for this discussion video, I think it's important to understand that I like to do creative things on this channel, and this particular discussion is going to be one of those. We actually did a Galaxian Probe video probably a month or two ago. It was the first time that I kind of touched on card creation, and I actually wanted to discuss this particular card in depth. I've been holding up on this for a little while for good content leading into time to play test for it, but without further ado, here is the Last Guardian. So the first thing you're going to see it is a fusion monster, and it might turn away some of you guys, but there's a catch. So it's a machine fusion effect. When your opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your extra deck. You can only use the effect of Last Guardian once per duel. So first off, this is post-link format as well. So you have to have your link zone free to be able to beam him out into the front lines. And he can only be summoned when a direct attack is declared. So a few things here. He does not have a battle phase ending effect like cards like Battle Fader that a lot of you guys have come to kind of know and love. And I weighed that very heavily as just a particular chump block. I don't think it's fair for a card that you have access to at any point in the game to have a battle phase ending effect. At least with Battle Fader, you have to hard draw it. And I think it's a little bit more rewarding of an aspect as a card that you have to actually pull from it as opposed to something that is already presented to you. Number two, I gave it one of my favorite clauses in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can only use the effect of such and such named card once per duel. So I don't think it's fair that a lot of players have the ability to use multiple copies of this card. And it's a little bit discouraging for an ability because I don't want to take away from the extra deck. It's not fair that the extra deck is already 15 cards, so producing a resource in the extra deck to be pulled out at any point in time would punish game mechanics. Limiting the effect to once per duel, I think, protects that clause. Now, the next step is, with this card's pure existence, players are going to have to play around it. And the fact that it doesn't end a battle phase, your opponent can attack with a bigger guy, force this guy out, and obviously this will force a replay, so that monster can attack over it again. They could just simply redirect with a trampler, but playing around this is going to be part of the big plan here. So we've never had an effect like this in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the extra deck. Actually, the extra deck is pretty limited to what we can see. And one of the cool things with designing this card is I've had a bit of experience with this from the Silver Orichalcos Challenge. To those of you that are new to this channel, the Orichalcos Challenge was something that we did years ago. We still have it, just haven't been so anxious to play it. But it was basically a deck of made-up cards that people could engage and play with me at events, and if you lost, I got to take your soul. We had a similar card in there that I could just special summon from the extra deck and block an attack. Even at that time, I didn't have battle phase ending effects because at that time of design, I didn't feel it was fair. And honestly, the stats need to be 0/0. For an effect that is summoning a chum blocker, it should not have stats. I don't want the monster to be able to be multi-purposed. You know, it's not fair to summon a 0/2000 from the extra deck to potentially block multiple things. It is there as a last result, hence Last Guardian. Now, I did double up on it and did produce it as a light monster. Light does have honest, but typically when I'm envisioning, you know, something as like a Last Guardian, you know, little glimmer of hope, blah, 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 blah. So if you have the honest for this, then you can be rewarded in a potential suicide. That's fine. I also made it machine. It gives a little bit more support to Cyber Dragon-based archetypes for Chimera Tech. I don't see any reason to not allow it to have just that. So also made it 1 star. I don't think that you should be getting rewarded for anything larger than 1 star. Rank 4, level 4 was considered, but Norden Abuse was too much to be considered. So Light Fusion, even if you recycle this, you get no real benefit from it because it is a once per duel effect. So, some of the things that I've noticed when actually producing this, and a few other things from testing, just from the Orichalcos version. We will be doing actual playtesting with this card for you guys, for the audience that wants to see things like this. You know, this is something that we were discussing doing a lot more of on this channel for creative card content. However, we're not going to exclusively focus on it. It'll be every once in a while thing. So, back to the discussion on this. So, your opponent will have to play around actually not being able to produce OTK scenarios. Now, with things like Masterpiece and Dryden running around in the current format, this thing doesn't have an effect on triggers. So if they declare an attack, you special summon the Last Guardian, you'll be able to have Dryden pop it, so it won't really be as much of an evasive effect. I think that's very important as well. Having an effect on activation that would stop the next attack, or, you know, special summon this guy and negate the current attack, no. That would make the card a little bit too imbalanced. Having a portable resource conveniently located in your extra deck is what puts much more of an emphasis on this card as being balanced, because a battle phase effect can just get over this as it being a 0/0. Now, would players take away from the dedication of their 15 card extra decks to play one of these? Yes, in Link format. I think in Link format this card becomes much more balanced than it already is. Simply in today's format you'd be able to special summon it anywhere. And in Link format you can it comes out into the Link zone. Obviously it has to be a direct attack. Yes, you could trigger it off of a Borbo. That is perfectly fine attacking you directly, but it won't stop the attack. So a Borbo will probably kill you. So I think it's important to realize that it is just that. It doesn't stop any additional attacks. But if you've already got something up in your Link zone and your opponent's directly attacking you, you won't be able to use the Guardian. So once again, I think it's more of an emphasis of an effect, being able to use the extra deck as a resource, something that we've never really explored in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And having a 0/0 that can come out for essentially free, for no restrictions, is pretty good. Obviously, it's going to immediately get ran over in battle, but it does what it needs to do. It protects you for the one battle as basically a meat shield. So, what do you guys think? We designed this card to be, well, I designed this card to be as fair and balanced as possible, and honestly, I think I achieved what I set out to do in terms of that. But with Dryden and Masterpiece's pure existence, I feel like this card just, you know, in terms of it being here, I don't know if a lot of players would take the time and dedication to play it. I definitely think it's important that you know it exists when playing against it, because its pure existence forces you to play around it. And you could even as well say, as like a format progresses, you know, people are going to start off playing this because this seems like a near staple, and then probably a lot of players will phase out of it. You know, Monarchs won't be able to use it if they're playing Domain. Same thing with True Draco, if they're playing the Domain build. And then to top things off, you know, it's risk versus reward. You know, like, what if you need that 15 card resource in your extra deck? You know, over here you are playing a vanilla fusion monster that can chum block one attack. You know, there's definitely other monsters that can be created in a similar resource. You know, like if your opponent activates a spell trap card, banish it from your extra deck. You know, once per duel effect. There are things like that that could be created that would be very interesting for the potential of the game. But I think this is a good place to start. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. We'll definitely get some duels in, as long as you guys are liking this video to tell me that you guys want some content with the young Last Guardian. And guys, we'll see what other creative cards we come up with in the future to mess around with. But until next time, guys, Deucerinos.
That's not all, folks. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please check out my Cardfight Vanguard channel, VanCole40. You guys will get an insight on our playtesting sessions. And please check out the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. That way you guys can follow the House of Champions and MCole40 interactions. Please check out MCole Games for all of your guys' trading card game needs. And if you guys enjoyed this content, please check out my Patreon in the description. Every bit helps to the creation of these videos. One step at a time in improvement, and that's the goal of this channel. Alright guys, have a good time, and thanks for watching.